it might not be
Sorry.
exact match. Okay. So I sit with a couple of Buddhist sanghas and have been having a conversation for a while with one of my teachers about self, non-self. And he references Buddhist scriptures and stuff. And what arises in me is this like aversion, which I understand as, quote, self. And I feel like I go like, like this is like this historical context of like kind of patriarchy, this enlightened guy, people come to him and then he says, this is wrong view and this is why. And it's like the practitioners come and listen and they're supposed to like obey and follow. And it's in a context. And I like the end result is non-self and freedom.
Mm-hmm.
But in what I think of as myself, which feels separate, like I feel like a difference there. It's like I have this point of view about it, like, really? Like, isn't this kind of like Christianity where the Buddha is like saying all these things to these bhikkhus, these monks, and it's kind of similar in some ways. I mean, there's resonance with like original sin and being good. And so like my tendency from childhood is like, that's fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, and I want to be able to have this conversation not from little me, little ego bound aversive me. It's very real that I have this aversion, that it's very clear to me I'm not doing this path because it's not resonant. I'm here with you guys because this is resonant. So can you address that at all? Is that too big of a thing?
Yeah, no, it's good. Yeah, for sure. I hear you. And I think there is what I feel within my journey as well is like the older ways of waking up is slowly kind of passing and dying out in a sense. Because where we are seeing and why we are connecting here, we are understanding that there's no hierarchy in this. There is just also a whole path of actually inclusion of everything. And I would say it's more of I don't want to put like kind of labels, but maybe more of a feminine approach to waking up, where everything is included. And it's not just as traditionally was before, and it's still really helpful, don't get me wrong. I feel like for whoever resonates with that particular method, and in my case, I can only speak from direct experience. In my case, I did follow, and I was really drawn to actual long-term, like long-lasting lineages in yoga, particularly, not in Buddhism. But in that case, for me, was somehow easier. And again, everyone will have their kind of resonance or non-resonance with that. In my case, for me, was easier to put down my doubt, seeing in other people that were exemplifying.
Recording in progress.
Nick, I think I have to mute your. Oh, there you go. You have many devices at the same time. Welcome back. So it's just coming back to, for me, it was like letting go and relaxing my doubt. And again, it has to come with trust and seeing that some of the qualities that I was looking for within myself, I could see in these people. Therefore, there was resonance, and therefore I would try some of the techniques and see if they're working for me. But again, I never took it like, okay, I'll do everything you say. It was, I'll take the gems, right, that feel directly in resonance with me, and I'll practice that and I'll see if it works. And all yoga is science. So there is techniques and kriyas and kriya and tantra. So it's like I'm applying a technique and I'm seeing results. Okay, if I'm seeing results, then I'm just taking it, I'm making it my own. It's not anymore about this person sitting or instructing as a guru, although there was a guru, but luckily enough, in my case, they were all dead. So in this case, I was making out of this practice everything I wanted to make it. And it was more of a feminine approach. It was intuitive approach. It was, okay, I'll take it. This is resonating with me. I'll take it. This kind of meditation is fulfilling. It feels deep. It feels really, how would I say, beneficial and constructive in the process of my inner unfolding, right? So what brings me again, and I also see a shift that before these kind of instructions that you're talking about, they were mostly based on transcendence, and transcendence is very, very much masculine way of waking up, right? It's like beyond the world. So it's like you're up and out, and the up and out is complete disconnection from the world. And back in the day, I don't think it was a bypass, but there was a need on the planet, in consciousness, a collective way to do that. Because I feel there was somehow the frequency and the ability to wake up and be in the world was not available yet. It's like the level of depth in the consciousness that is evolving, right? There's like, okay, there is the absolute, that there's no evolution, no need for evolution there. It's perfect as is. But there is the manifestation of the absolute, and there is the attunement of the energies that are waking up right now. And what I'm seeing right now, what I'm feeling with this work and where it's going, it's the beauty of almost doing two things simultaneously, being fully human and fully awake. And it was never an availability like that before. So therefore, the transcendence path is kind of like a hierarchy. Let me tell you how to do that. Follow the instructions, and therefore you're up and out, no self. But that's only halfway, really. We're still here wearing these, human astronaut suits. Not astronaut suits, but yeah, we'll travel into space, but biological ecosystems, and we're still gonna have the body mind active up until our last breath. So therefore, the beauty and the integration of both, being fully awake, being knowing the spirit, knowing the no self that we are, and then bringing it to every single tiny corner of our existence, and allowing both to coexist. The two, so to say, somewhat disappears, right? We have to go beyond, as is in KI, beyond the words and the pictures to find unity. And yet the marriage of the two, like we see with repression work especially, is the spirit, the space, the presence, and the energy, the manifest, right? They have this beautiful marriage that happens, this beautiful intimacy, meeting each other, and therefore allowing each other to flourish into a complete flow, right, of expression, effortlessly.
Okay, so I used my Ivy League educated brain to talk about feminine spirituality and transcendence and immanence and embodied and all that. Okay, all that stuff, right? And I realized as I listened to you, I need to trust myself and let go of, I have an attachment to wanting to teach him something. Like he's the teacher who's very locked in, and I really want to bring, like, it's part of my passion on the planet to bring people who are kind of saying the same thing, but to bring them together to hear different ideas. And that's fine. And I can drop my attachment that he's going to somehow see things any different after listening to things I say and reading articles or whatever and having conversation with me. Because that's like, there was the piece of, oh, Jesus, this is fucking stupid, what he's talking about, which is just old consciousness in me. But really, I do want to educate and present information. This is my experience and how it's informed the work that I do internally. Back off with the attachment that it's going to do anything to shift him. If it does, great. But my job is just to share and back off.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. If anything, like what I'm experiencing for the past years, especially with KI, it's like we can never shift, we can never change anyone without their willingness and readiness to do so.
Rafał Paczyś zrobił dziurę w mózgu po prostu.
Sorry.
Rafał Paczyś.
Let's find whatever it is on YouTube.
Odjechany na maksa, ale bardzo wulgarny jest.
Margot?
Powiedziałem jego półgodzinny program. No gość jest mistrz, nie? Po prostu.
I don't see whoever is unmuted.
Płakałem ze śmiechu w kuchni. Nie mogłem po prostu. Jak on opowiada obrazowo, nie?
They're talking so loudly.
Jesteś tam, widzisz.
I just don't even see them on my screen.
Dotykasz.
Oh, here they are. Okay, sorry. Whoa. Okay, because I have hide non-video participants. Okay, sorry. Show non-video participants. Okay. Here we go. Sorry about that. Yeah, so where was I? Yeah, so the experience with KI and just planting seeds, that's what it is. It's really stepping into your own freedom with whatever tools, and you can only be kind of like in parenting. We can just have 3 kids, so we can say so much. We can try to educate them and try to give them even boundaries and just some things. But if we behave completely differently from what we're trying to impose as values or understanding, or it's just, so it's our responsibility to take, re-own and become sovereign and free within ourselves. And that would be just an energetic impact already. And if you are privileged with the fact that you can have a conversation with someone and plant a seed just by sharing your freedom and your story and how it helped you, that's it. You did your work, basically. That's pretty much it. So beautiful, I mean, thank you. Yeah.
And so funny that the email I was writing him, I was talking about seeds, that there were seeds of freedom and seeds of bondage in what I was reading. Like I was reading these Buddhist scriptures, right? And like, yeah, I can get how some of this could serve freedom, but boy, there's all this dogma and, so I love that we are in the field here with the same words even.
Beautiful. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, good luck planting seeds. Beautiful. Anyone else? Anything else? Any questions? Any sharing?
I have one question. Do you have like any tools that you would use in kind of like an emergency situation, or when you're so ramped up? Like right now I'm stranded in a blizzard. So my emotions are like, whoa.
Yeah.
Questions?
Yeah, for sure. Emergency situations. Well, first and foremost, I would probably just regulate my nervous system if it feels like very, very on the edge. So I would just do a little bit of breathing. Doesn't matter what kind of breathing, just deep belly breathing would do the trick. So and just centering oneself. And if anything, I would really check in immediately. And I think I keep on talking about I'm so impressed with this most simple but most profound tool, which is body-mind mirroring. So I would find what it is really, what you know, if it's anxiousness, what is the anxiousness already saying? And just, but the trick is, and that's something I would like to bring here, because I find this tool can be dimension 1 tool. I came into presence, and this is my huge gift from life was actually through mantra repetition. So for me, I know all the ins and outs of like subtleties of what one pointed focus on sound or on a word can do. So it definitely, I feel, and I wrote it to Scott, I feel that the body-mind mirroring is actually like a high-speed embodied enlightenment tool. Oh my goodness, I need to check my Zoom settings to make sure people come in muted. Welcome. How is it applying all 3 levels? We need to understand that if we repeat it mindlessly, just like fast, we can oversaturate our nervous system, and that's not a way to do it. But if we do it the correct way, it can actually bring, there's many things in it included. There is nervous system regulation in it. If we really one-pointed and with focus actually pay attention, there is the one-pointed attention, like from Patanjali Yoga Sutras, the 7 steps to samadhi. One of the steps prior to meditation, it's one-pointed concentration. And when I mean concentration, we don't need to like put all our effort to focus. It's all we need is bring back the mind back, well, our attention, our awareness back into being with the word wherever we're saying. And we're so one-pointed with it. We're so merged with the word we're repeating that it becomes very nervous system regulating, because being present is regulating. That's why, you know, a lot of people, you know, that actually eventually abide in presence, they kind of forget about all the tools go out the window. We don't need them anymore, because just being here and now is not disturbing, because we're no longer do the mind tripping acrobatics of the body-mind survival mechanism. So it is nervous system regulating. It's one-pointed concentration. It is as well one-pointed concentration longer than 5 minutes. When we stay with the sound, when we stay with one word, brings us into, it's like a bridge into unity or into spaciousness or into presence. You can think about it as if our thoughts are just this fluctuation of the mind. It could be the clouds in the sky, and the sky is always empty. It's always just spacious, right? And we can think of this one-pointed being with whatever sentence, a word, or whatever it is we're repeating. We can think about that as an airplane. So we could just take off and go from underneath the clouds and into seeing the open sky. But it takes that being with for a while. So for me, I feel this tool is dimension 1, which in my case was just a high, Margot, yeah. So dimension 1, it was really being with, in my case, with a seed, with a sacred mantra of the lineage. I was in Himalayan yoga tradition of Swami Rama. So I was repeating that mantra. And in this case, you know, it had its own power, yes, but it's still just the fact that you are excluding everything else out of your existence right now. And you are actually with what's happening. In this case, body-mind mirroring. In this case, you are with whatever the body is already saying. So just acknowledging what's here. It's being with what is, really, but in a greater sense. So there is deep unconscious processing with this tool, and there is awakening at the same time, because we are building our concentration. And if you build your concentration and you're able to stay with one thing for a longer period of time, you cross the threshold that feels kind of tight and how do I say, this contraction upon what feels like separation, right? The contraction upon this time world we create with our mind. So we cross that into just, even thoughts are here, but nothing is going to touch you anymore. So a lot of people, and my clients especially that I work with and I instruct in the correct way, back the results that it brings regulation, it brings balance, and it brings presence into their everyday life, to a point where, in my case, when I was working with the mantra starts playing on its own. So you don't have thoughts anymore. Instead of thoughts, you have just the mantra playing. So it overrides. And in this case, one of the clients reported that whatever it is, she just tunes in. It just becomes your inner automatic mechanism. So she just tunes in, and the body almost tells her what it is already saying. And she just starts repeating that for 1 minute, and poof, everything gets regulated. So you really need to do it with full presence, I feel. And if we do it with full presence, that could be that emergency tool, Yvonne, that might be regulated and keeping you here present in the moment with what's happening.
Oh, thank you for reminding me of mantra, because I forgot how well that worked for me.
Yeah.
I totally forgot. I used to go to Kundalini classes all the time, and that was snapped me into presence right there. So thank you.
Yeah. And that's the beauty with these tools. Like, we can use processing, and it would give us the same effect that we would have with a mantra, just being fully merged with sound. And I mean, when we do body, mind, mirroring, yeah, right, we also have the awareness of the body and the energy that is present here. And if you tune in and you start practicing it, you can find the subtleties and the actual invisible connection between the two. It's almost like a felt sense, but it takes practice. But yeah, it's fascinating. I'm like, my gosh, this is like the Western population. Literally, that's the mantra. This is it. This is like both. We're becoming fully awakened, fully human with just one simple tool. It's fascinating because, and how it is covering the dimension 2. So when we actually do it in presence and we stay curious, we're gonna see associations. There's gonna be pictures, but I would invite you not to grasp onto all the pictures. Yes, there's an aha. Oh, wow. Yeah, I can see that. But just let them just pass through. So the associations, it's kind of like KI dimension 2 is building that, how do I say, body mind survival map, how we hang out, how we started to believe all these lies about ourselves, how we started to find all these utilities behind, and sabotaging mechanisms for survival. So we're gonna see that. So that's what it is. And working with the energies, dimension 3. So it's just the all go tool. I'm pretty excited about. Wonderful. Cool. Any questions? Anyone else? Thanks, Yvonne. I hope that helps. Yes, Paige.
I can attest to what you're saying, Alina. Yvonne, I had almost the same question a couple days ago for Alina, and Alina, you sort of helped me understand the body mind mirroring more, and I was able to put it in place in a way that was really a lot more effective and helpful than most of the KI I've been doing. I was feeling sensations in my body in the moment. I was having pain in my lower back, and I just started like really focusing in on it like a like the way we focus on breath in meditation or focus on a mantra, I focused on the actual sensation that I was experiencing in that moment, and then spoke to it and asked, doing the KI and figuring out what the words were. And then I used those words as if they were the mantra. And so I was aware of the sensation in the body and the words that were mirroring back. And I just kept going back and forth with them like doing a mantra. And then sure enough, the pain just started kind of dissolving. And I was like, whoa, this is cool. So a little testimonial, the whole body mind mirroring thing it's really something, and describing it as if it's a mantra or a meditation focus, like that's kind of, I don't know, that's next level. Like that's really cool. That's really bringing the three dimensions together. Yeah, I love it. So
Beautiful. Awesome. Yeah, it's true. And yeah, within myself and within clients, within myself recently, I had this intense, although I did KI and it was beautiful to see whatever it was, but there was a lot of gratitude and connection instead of complete emptiness that I was feeling. But it was intense contraction in my solar plexus. And I'm like, okay, I'm just going to give it a try. And I was just really with this full attention, full focus. I was doing it for a minute or two, and then just something just literally magically starts happening. So it starts shooting out the energy, and it was just like shooting out, shooting out, shooting out. And I was just being with it. And within, and within, I don't know, 2-3 minutes, I was repeating, I was just being with it, and it completely dissolved. It was just like, I'm like, oh my God, what are we inventing here? This is so fascinating, simple. And yeah, it's so profound. Yeah. So yeah, try it out. It's definitely, and again, have the ingredients. And if you haven't experienced or had the experience to do yoga or something like being familiar with mantra repetition, I would invite you to Google and find, how to truly be with a mantra. This is like a different kind of science, and it's very, very simple. And in some words, I can say it's one pointedness upon sound, or in this case, body mind mirroring upon sound and sensation at the same time. And apart from gaining the fact that you're training your mind not to be, how do I say, chaotically unfocused and just random, right? There's thoughts, random noise in the head. So what you're training is the actual telling your mind is not right now. I'm actually attending what is more important, what is right here now. So you're retraining your mind to be with what is, instead of going 100 miles and all this other. So, and this is pretty much coming back to actual tools, yogic tools that were invented to practice to be fully present. And it really is a wonderful trick, apart from releasing the energy, as you're saying, Paige, in your testimony, and so many others. It's also, as I'm saying, if you are able to stay with one thing, one pointed, for more than 5 minutes, actually the science says it, and I even found it. This wasn't my own experience, but then reading later on and researching about it, I found it is an actual, found confirmations to that. If we stay one pointed with one thing, whatever it is, if we're staying with the breath, we're staying with the breath. If we're staying with the mantra, we're staying with the mantra, or in this case, statements that we find within our body already saying. So if we're staying with that more than 7 minutes, there is something that happens, as I'm saying, there is an openness that just crosses, and we're just fall into pure being, deep being, where nothing touches. So it could be a fun practice, because you're doing KI and you're killing, you're killing, I don't want to kill rabbits, but you're killing 2 rabbits with the same stone. So yeah, have fun. Yeah, and yeah, and come back report. It's nice to see, because we're really, this is a playground, really playground in consciousness and freedom and liberation, and let's combine our efforts to see what really works, so that we can pass it on if it's something really concrete and something really helpful to others. Yeah, beautiful. Thanks, Paige. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, anyone else? I mean, we're gonna meditate soon, but we're just gonna open to another sharing insight or question. Let's see if I have anything. Yeah, and I guess a little bit to speak about, like, bringing it back again to dimension 2 is that stillness, right? Is the stillness we're all craving, actually. Not even knowing that we are craving that, but it's that. It's because the stillness, or if I say maybe not even the stillness, but the actual permanence of something that we are craving. Because we're so habituated to, how would I say, to innocently identify with the fluctuating, the coming and going, right? And we're trying to find peace and lasting contentment, and we're trying to find that, how would I say, that sustained calm or sustained well-being within something that is coming and going, basically. So there is this craving, there is this calling, there is this search, how they say, for peace of mind, you know. So the invitation with KI, and I can't get enough of this actual tool that finally lands in dimension 1 somehow. It's like, how do we get to that peace? How do we get to that stillness? How do we, and we'll listen to all the teachers, non-dual teachers, and they will tell us there's nowhere to get to. It's always already here. And yes, it's true. And yes, it's really, really true. And yet there is still separation, that felt sense of contraction. There is somehow the me and the them, and there's the noise, and then maybe the worry, and then maybe something else. So how do we get to that peace that is always already here, that stillness? And again, why am I fascinated with this tool? Because it is repetitive. Repetitive means that is always present here and now. And what else is fascinating with that? It's meditative. It's meditative, and it takes you out of your head, although you're still staying with a thought. I'm still talking about body, mind, mirror. So you're still with a thought, but now you're not with a thought that came out of your head and you're understanding or analytical, trying to solve problems, solve life. You're actually staying with a thought that is unconsciously already playing somatically in your body, exhibiting itself in your body. So you're actually connecting to your body, and waking up and living from presence and being in stillness is living from your body. Always, always. So this is the beauty and the entry point of how we can actually master dimension 1 with actually just doing KI. If we make the practice, I mean, KI also is an invitation to be here and now for an hour, whether you've been facilitated or whatever it is, even being in a group like that right now, really listening, being present. But the invitation is, of course, it's it's still our own job, so to say. It's not a group, it's an inner reflection and sitting and finding out for yourself who and what you are, meaning finding that stillness. Because when we find that stillness, I'm not saying everything fixes itself, but it gives you this solid, constant ground that we were always looking for. And that solidity of it, the constant contentment of it, you can always come back to, even if for a moment you fell into a bubble, which called relationship, and you got triggered, and all of a sudden it feels like you lost that ground. Just with one breath and coming back to what is already known here, that stillness. Oh, goodness. Sorry about that. Yeah, so coming back with that stillness, I'm gonna turn this off. It's just my bell is gonna be here, and I reached out, my car was broken, so I reached out and I'm getting a new car, and they've been calling me like crazy. Sorry about that. Let me close my phone. So no bells for today. So yeah, so that ground, and I don't want to get into, aimless seeking mode. I know if you're already here, it's already alive in you. And that's why you're also in KI. There's something in you that knows there's something deeper and something greater than just the fluctuation of the mind and the ego trying to survive the body-mind reaction to the past, and this continuous rebirthing of that past from the unconscious. Because the unconscious is almost like constantly pregnant, and we're constantly bringing into life everything that is there we're still unconscious of. Therefore, this beautiful work is to free that up, empty that up as much as we can, so it no longer abstract our being here and now, freer, exactly as we are. Finding that stillness. And by finding that stillness, again, it's not guaranteed your finance is going to be fixed and you're going to have your dream job or your dream relationship. Yet, the existential fear of death, the knowing yourself and who and what you are beyond body and mind, is crucial to the totality of the freedom. And so for me, the beauty of the three-dimensional work is actually huge emptying to come back again to dimension one and recognize ourselves as who and what we are, as the stillness. And now recognizing yourself as that stillness eventually goes back through all the three dimensions, meaning it's like waking up on the level of the mind, heart, KI, and the gut. Probably, I would probably assume that fear of repression and everything underlying repression is in the gut. And that last grasp itself for survival. So liberating all that, then life can fill in. We don't even need to reprogram ourselves. It's just the dream house I've never thought I'll have, the most beautiful situation where I am in the city I live in, and playing tennis again, playing guitar again, the job I love and still unfolding. I just got green check mark, and now I'm a trainer in repression, and it's just like, it just doesn't stop, and I'm not asking for none of this. And it's in exact perfect resonance of who I am. who I am, what is it really? It's just that expression of the one in this unique body, mind, frequency, and experiences that have been lived through. So now it's just this effortless being me fully. And that's the beauty. Yeah, that's the beauty. And so I can't, like, I have goosebumps. Like, this work is awesome, guys. Yeah, just take it seriously, commit to it, do the work, and it really, 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 really helps. It really works. It's no longer talking about, for me, why this is so exciting, that it's actually, I came to waking up to a true nature and abiding in presence from doing practice. And there is no way, and the lucky few probably will hear a word and they will, or they get truly deeply depressed, like Eckhart Tolle, and poof, everything just like wakes up. For me, it took practice, it took discipline, and it took some 3 years, but still 3 years of commitment. And therefore, what I find with this, all of a sudden, somehow non-duality became a practice, which is beautiful. We know, and not just non-duality, but psychology. And that's where the two merge, really, where we can fully integrate and fully bring that no longer transcendence anymore. And transcendence in some ways, for sure, but no longer out there, detached from the world, but is fully present and intimate with every single thing, whether it's your work, the people you talk to, your children, your immediate environment, whatever your tennis. Like right now with the repression of anger, I play tennis like a champ because I can use that energy totally. I can use anger in my game. It's awesome. It's beautiful. I can use anger in the assertiveness of my talk right now. I couldn't use that. And it's not like, oh, I'm going to be angry about it. It's just an energy. It's just an energy. And we know with the beauty of this work, we can tap to all the full spectrum of energies available to us to use. And therefore, it's not even we're thinking about how I'm going to use it. It's just the capacity of that is intelligently can be tapped into by the intelligence itself, life itself. We don't need to think about it. It's just effortless. Effortless in the things like, let's say an example of the car. You know, my car has been beautiful and it's been getting me to all the different places, but it was bought in a scarcity mode when I was living with my ex-partner. And we were both sharing that. We were, you know, in a poverty mode, and this was the thing. We were the hippies and the spiritual ones and so on. And it struggles. This car has its struggle, and it like when I take my children out to nature, which is maybe 2-3 hours drive, 5 hours drive. When it comes back, it's like chokes. I'm tired. I'll get it to the mechanic, and it's like I'm going over it again and again. And although I love it and it supports me, and it would never gave up in the middle of the road. It always gets me to the destination. So I love it in that sense. I love that it's energy. There's a connection there, but it's like there is a readiness for something new, and I'm not looking for it. And it's interesting enough, it's just someone talked to me about this particular car and how it is very affordable and it's very new and blah, blah, blah. So I'm investigating about it. And then I'm like, I'm not sure about the finances about it and so on. But then I compared how much my old Jeep drinks as gas. I'm like, well, probably that could cover it. But anyway, I'm like, it's not attachment. I'm not trying to get it. And all of a sudden things are starting to take shape. All of a sudden, like the new training comes in, and I'm green checkmark certified. And now Scott reached out and said like, well, could you train in 3D? And I'm like, yeah, totally. I actually have people that are in KI right now, and they want to get certified in repression. So perfect, more doing what I love. Finances are coming to support this, and everything is just like, I'm not really looking for anything. So I'm just saying, guys, like empty out, unlock all your repressions, and it's fascinating how you're going to actually find yourself present and free. And that's a lived experience, really, but we need to commit to the practice of it. That's for sure. It just doesn't happen overnight, for sure. It could, some release and some aha and some satori's, definitely like a moment of true 1 day, 2 days of just presence could happen, but then we still need to, it's still continuous. I'm not saying like I'm completely free of stuff. I'm still working on some deep fear of rejection and some other things that are still arise here and there in relationships. So still quite human, but it's not like, you know, it's not anymore that the years that were put there, they brought their fruits, right? So that's the invitation.
May I share something?
Yes, please.
Okay, so the last I don't know, number maybe 18 months or 2 years, there's, well, really 40 years, there was a project I started in college. So there's this book that I've been wanting to do, and I've made, you know, various inquiries and blah, blah, blah. And I have to say that the most incredible thing happened today, which is that one of the persons who's a friend of mine I used to know in 12-step recovery, who's a doctor who we've talked about working together in the past, she invited me to do a book for her integrative weight loss management practice or medicine. It's the book that I want to write. I'm so excited. So what I got back from the universe was actually a better thing than I had been conceptualizing, because I'm like, you know, I'm having a hard time doing this structure. And then when I reached out to her yesterday to talk about, like, hey, I need a job. We had talked about this ages ago. And then and our friendship is based on our shared path. It's outside of ego and achievement. And it's all about our path and our awakening and our love and our historical work and our freedom from addiction. And today, as I'm channeling this shit, she texts me saying, you know, I'm really trying to figure out a way to get you on the payroll, or maybe doing it under the table. And I'm thinking maybe you could write the book for blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh my God, the book that I had planned, you know, not another diet book, which is about the hero's journey of using food and the whole thing, instead of being in one's energy and process and allow the universe to kind of work through. Anyway, I'm all excited. I can barely articulate it, but I'm very articulate. But I mean, like, fuck.
Awesome.
And I had just said, like, literally 3 days ago, as I'm getting clearer and clearer and putting shit out to other people I know, I want to work with doctors. I want to be like training doctors, because I was like a hospital patient person. Like my whole awakening was like Eckhart Tolle's looked like a picnic, man, with Ronald McDonald. So does Byron Katie.
Beautiful. Wow. Congratulations, Annie. That's awesome. That's the beauty.
It's in play, you know, it's happening.
Yeah, for sure. It's like, and this is it. This is like the kind of riding the waves and getting out of the way and not necessarily getting attached to anything. And yet having the vision going through us, knowing and trusting that it will find a way to manifest. Yeah, it's like, well, funny. Well, one of these things, I mean, it's very minor, but still, yesterday, my mom and my brother coming to Mexico to visit me. And we grew up with a father, we played ping pong, because I played tennis as well, but we grew up playing ping pong. And my brother is like, oh, is there any ping pong tables around? I'm like, I have no idea. I have never seen ping pong in my little town at all, although I'm living beside tennis courts and there's a whole sports center there. And just like for a moment, I just stopped, like, okay, how do I find the ping pong table? I just like literally just stopped and just like planted it there. I go today to the sports center. There's 2 new ping pong tables there. I'm like, really? It's like, oh. It's amazing. It's amazing, guys. Yeah. So yeah, it's fun. It becomes play, really. It becomes very playful. Yeah, but anyway, I'm not saying like, you know, it's just that. There's also moments of grief and moments of emptiness and moments of sadness. And that's the whole beauty of being human, right? It's just the full spectrum and the availability to ride all this without necessarily getting stuck anywhere. Because feeling sad is fucking blissful. And feeling angry is amazing. So why not? Why not? Why not? Yeah. So, okay, so let's meditate. So I don't have bells, but let's see, how do I do this? So time. Well, maybe I'll turn it back on. It's like the car is looking for me now. They're like all agents are calling me. So I'm turning it back on and we'll see, because I do have a training in half an hour. So I just really want to make sure not to overdo it. Okay. So here we go. So for whoever's new here, there's a few bells, and you might hear them, you might not, because Zoom blocks the background sound, but I'll guide you. So it's a guided meditation. So I'll invite you to get as comfortable as you can. If you need to adjust your position, if you need to get a blanket or put some socks, if it's cold, or undress or take a layer, which I'm gonna do actually. And just find a comfortable position so you can relax, really fully relax. So the intention of this meditation is just let go. Let go into a state of deep relaxation, curiosity, and presence of vigilance. And to the mind, it might be new things altogether. So the mind might be still habituated to pull your attention into thinking. So it's totally cool and it's fine, just being gentle with yourself. What you can do is find an anchor in the breath, or even the point on the tip of your nose between the nostrils. And you can bring your attention there and watch your breath coming in. Feel your breath coming in and out. When you feel distracted, or when you feel you're just overwhelmed with thought and you need to anchor yourself. But otherwise, this meditation is about presencing, witnessing, allowing, withdrawing control, staying curious. And we're just going to start by paying attention to all the external sounds right now in your environment. So you bring awareness, you bring your hearing, your attentiveness into including all sounds, from the most subtle sounds. It could be like frequency or vibration of the computer or the humming. To perhaps more acute sounds. Maybe there's a window open if it's summer, wherever you are. And if it's not, and there is a lot of silence or absence of sound, you can listen to that. So you can listen to silence. You're listening to sounds, including the sound of my voice. And you just allow it to be translated as feeling. So you might notice that the sound of my voice feels a certain way in your body. And you might notice that perhaps other sounds, maybe loud sounds, translate differently. So we have this ability to feel sound. Listening with your whole body, listening with your whole being, kind of like you're listening to music. And now see if you can just stay with the outside environment for now, because the mind will be drawn and the attention will be drawn on the inside to pay attention to thoughts. I try to stay with just external sound or silence, just staying curious. And see if you can, instead of being one-pointed with one particular sound, if you have a few different kinds of sounds in the environment, just see if you can include all of them at the same time. Takes a little shift into relaxation, as if allowing awareness to relax and broaden a little bit, to include more. In this case, as if awareness was an aperture, whoever did some film photography or nose photography. The aperture of a camera. It just opens up to take in everything at the same time. So you're still listening to the sound of my voice and the sounds in the environment. And what else you can include with that is the felt sense of the space in the room. Just kind of feel into it. How does that space feel like? Is it dense? Is it spacious? Does it feel busy? Cold? Inviting? What does it feel like being in that space? So what are you going to try to do now? Still allowing your thoughts just to be the sound that happens. You're still staying with sounds outside the space in the room. Now you're going to include all of your skin and the way it interacts with the environment. So all of that sensation, what does it feel like? So you're including that as well. So you're aware of the sound of my voice, the space in the room, and the way your body is interacting with the environment. And you'll see the mind again might be drawn to the thoughts or the sensations on the inside. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to include that as well. So again, you're becoming bigger and bigger, meaning you're including the outside sound or silence, the felt space in the room, the way the skin interacts with your sweater or your clothes or anything else, the face or the air. But you're also including whatever is on the inside. However your belly is feeling, however your chest is feeling, or anything else that stands out the most. If there's any physical pain, you're including that. And you're allowing just your thoughts to be simply the sound that happens as it does. There were cars outside, or there were children playing. You're not paying attention, you hear it, but you're not paying attention. You're not getting involved. You're just being the space. So just see, how much can I include? How big can I make this aperture of awareness that I am to include everything simultaneously? And again, the trick is not in the effort. If there is effort here, include that as well as just something that happens. Hey, effort, you're welcome to be here too. It's actually through relaxing. The more I relax, the more I can include in my perception. The broader I become. And again, withdrawing and relaxing effort might mean as well that your awareness just wanders, and that's totally okay. You don't need to stay trying to be spacious. Just allow it to move wherever it wants to move. The other trick is allowing awareness to be spontaneous and non-manipulated. Brings peace and spaciousness. So at one moment, it might be aware of sound, and another moment, it might be aware of the pain in your foot. So just allow it to move and spontaneously be curious about whatever it wants to be curious. So you just relax and see what happens. If I just become more and more inclusive of everything, without the need to contract upon anything, especially thought. I could just include and allow everything in my experience without the need to control, without the need to arrive anywhere. The more I relax, the more I arrive into what is already still. And if there is a sense of spaciousness that is present, just be that. Just let it remember without a need to grasp onto it. Without the need to be afraid to lose it. There's nowhere to go. It's always here. We just need to learn how to switch, like we learned in our first days, how to fall asleep. It's just a way to switch consciousness into another state. So just being, getting curious of what it feels like just to be, without the need to be anything in particular. Without the need to show up in a different way, just exactly as is. Just staying curious. What is this stillness? What is this contentment? This rest everyone is talking about being our true nature. a natural state. Again, it could be very abstract to the mind. And everything the mind needs to do is simply to relax. The more I allow and relax my mind, the more it becomes obvious that whatever I'm looking for is always already here. And just staying curious, allowing what is. Perhaps, with the invitation to just include everything. I am spacious, where everything is allowed, just as is. I don't push anything away. I don't grasp on to anything. I just am exactly as I am. Nothing more, nothing less. So we're going to remain in silence for the next 5 minutes or so. If you find yourself lost, come back to that point between the nostrils and just feel the breath coming and going for 2 or 3 or 4 breaths, or as long as you need to keep that focus and anchoring into the present moment. So we're slowly going to come back to our breath. Just noticing breathing, the way the body and the rib cage expands and contracts. The body needs immediate attention, meaning if your leg is numb or something that needs to be moved, please go ahead and do that. Support yourself. Just move that part. But you still can have your eyes closed, so still slow integration. So if you arrived at a quiet space, take your time, respect that, respect your own pace. Otherwise, just with your eyes closed, let's just connect for a moment to our beautiful hearts. Just giving yourself an inner hug, knowing that you're meeting yourself in this deep way, whether it's through KI, through repression, or just meditating. Knowing that there's no mistakes and the path you're on, it's your path. It's nobody's path. It's unique to you. And it's taking you onto the freedom that you already are. And the free expression of that. So just trust it. And if there is an issue with trust, AI that. Because only when we don't have a doubt, only then life comes forth as an evidence, as a truth of what you knew was true. But if we doubt, life will mirror itself back exactly like that, as obstacles, as unclarity. So if you believe in a method, in your own path, in your own intuition, in life itself supporting you, That's all it's needed. Just need to trust. You are in the right place with the right people, with the right technique. And again, blindly trusting is also not the way to go, but try it and see for yourself. Whatever it is you're practicing, try it, apply it, use it. And when you get the confirmation, trust just expands and expands until it's no longer needed. Because there's no more two. There's no you trust in the universe. There's just one. Universe flowing. It's the unique expression of you. So let's stretch or move or yawn or whatever it is you needed. And slowly come back. Beautiful, Nicola. Thank you, dear. Yeah, thank you for joining. Lovely. Here we are. Hi, Paige. Hi, everyone. Oh, everyone is cute. Thank you so much. Yeah, unfortunately, I have to cut short, and I can't listen to your insights or so that you're here. I'm with you. Hi, Margot. Thank you, Lawrence. Beautiful. Yeah, thank you, everyone. I'll see you next time. Yeah.
Thanks, Alina.
Thank you.
I love the choir. Thanks, Alina.
Thank you.
Thank you, Margot. Nice to see you. Take good care. Thank you for the heart, Avida. Thanks for joining. Beautiful. Take good care, everyone. Love you all.
And have a good time with your family. Have a good time with your family.
Thank you. Yeah. I will definitely. It's been a while. I haven't seen them, so thank you so much. Take care, Nick. I'll see you a little bit later. Take good care.
Yeah.
Bye, Margot.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Okay. This